Britain played a key role in supporting then US President George W. Bush in taking military action against Saddam Hussein, claiming the Iraqi leader had stockpiles of chemical and biological weapons, although none were ever found. The inquiry into Britain's participation in Iraq, led by retired civil servant John Chilcot, took 7 years to publish. It stretches to 2.6 million words. Its conclusions are damning.
The UK chose to join the invasion of Iraq before the peaceful options for disarmament had been exhausted. Military action at that time was not a last resort.
In one declassified memo, Prime Minister Blair told his American counterpart that he would be with him whatever, 8 months before the invasion. In a response lasting 2 hours Wednesday, Mr. Blair insisted there was no rush to war.
Back then, barely more than a year from 9/11, in late 2002 and early 2003, you're seeing the intelligence mount up on WMD. You're doing so in a changed context of mass casualties caused by a new and virulent form of terrorism.
The former Prime Minister apologised to the families of British servicemen and women who had lost their lives and for the hundreds of thousands of Iraqis killed during the war and its aftermath. But he refused to say he had made the wrong decision.
What changed was not anything in Iraq, it was 9/11 and Afghanistan. And that what's led to the American push for an invasion of Iraq. But actually, the report argues, containment, the sanctions that were in place to stop Saddam getting weapons of mass destruction, were not perfect, but they were working and they could have been given more time.
Outside, relatives of soldiers killed in Iraq listened to the evidence.
The healing that I thought I started to find, that peace I'd started to find after 11 and a half years, I've gone back to that moment when I first heard those words, that Bob O'Connor's missing in action, presumed dead.
And the suffering continues in Iraq. Several 100,000 have been killed in sectarian violence since the US-led invasion. One of the deadliest attacks came just this week when suicide bombers killed 250 people in Baghdad. The Chilcot inquiry may mark the closing of a dark chapter in British politics. In Iraq, the brutal consequences are still being written. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.